First mistake of me. We're just going to take you on a journey of what we do in band. So the first thing we do is when we get our instruments in July, we play with just the mouthpieces for the first couple of days. And so Mrs. Lilliard is going to read a poem called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," a story, and we're going to add some sound effects to that. So this is what we do for the first 4 classes. We just play with our mouthpieces. So I'll turn it back over to Mrs. Lilliard, and we're going to have "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" with some cool sound effects.
All right, I'm going to do the very best I can to recite this very long poem for you. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up at the sash. The moon at the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came. He whistled and shouted and called them by name. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they met with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up on the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. Then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed in all fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry, his droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, the right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of an eye and a twist of a head, soon he gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all of the stockings and turned with a jerk, and laying a finger aside his nose and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight,
Thank you, Mrs. Lillard. I want to thank Mrs. Day over at GIS for giving that idea. That was not mine, that was stolen. So after we put together our mouthpieces, we play that for a couple of days, then we play our first 5 notes. So it takes about a month to learn the first 5 notes. We haven't really even opened up our book. So we learn to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in that order. And that's our B flat scale, but we call it our 5-note scale. So this is our daily warm-up. We're going to play our 5-note scale for you. about a month into band, we can do that. Then we start getting into the books and we start reading a few of our easier tunes. The next tune we're going to play for you is called March Step. So everything in this book has a purpose. And the purpose of this is we're not just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going like 1, 3, and then 3, 5, and mixing it up a lot. So this is the first difficult song they have to play. So this is called March Step. We learned it about a month ago. So most of our songs from now are about 8 measures. So they take about 10 seconds to play. But eventually in the book, they get you to an exercise where you're playing 16 measures. So it is a shock to our system that we have to play for 30 seconds without stopping. Because these instruments, they take a lot of endurance. So this one is called Lightly Row, and then this one helps build our endurance. So enjoy Lightly Row. All right, so we are lucky enough to, in this corporation, have a lot of help with our band and our music program. So back there we have Mr. Richard Toomey that is helping out with our brass and our woodwinds. So let's give Mr. Toomey a hand. So teaching a band of even 35 of them that play different instruments is kind of like teaching calculus and then geometry and then algebra all in the same room at the same time. So we are lucky enough to have him to help us split us up. So we're going to do a piece called Listen to Our Sections. So our band has 3 sections. This is a concert band, and we have our woodwinds, wait. That's our flutes, clarinets, and saxophones. We have our brass section, which is our trumpets, trombones, and baritones. And then we have our percussion section in the back. And they're playing bell kits right now, but I will talk about what they're about to play. So this next piece, you're going to hear 1 measure of each section. So the percussion will start, the woodwinds, and then the brass, and then we'll just kind of take turns. So this is Listen to Our Sections. So now we're going to walk around the band, and this is called our subsection song. So each subgroup gets a song. So I'm going to walk around and show you the first group, which is the flute section.
Okay, flutes, go ahead and hold up your instruments. Flute is the highest member of the woodwind family. It mostly plays melodies, and the sound is made by blowing across the tone hole. Blowing across the tone hole, and it comes in 3 different pieces. It's metal, so that you can hear it. But this is basically a recorder, okay? It's metal and held to the side. So let's hear the flutes play. It's the most versatile member of the band because it can play the highest notes in the woodwind section and the lowest notes. So when they get to high school, they get put on parts. Like there will be kids that play the high parts, and then there'll be kids that play the low parts. And even there is a bass clarinet that plays all the super low parts. Let's hear our clarinets play. Go.
So all of the flute does not have a reed, but our clarinets have a reed. Avery, you want to hold that up real quick? So the clarinets have a wooden reed, and the saxophones also have a reed. So they have to blow across. Yes, that was a bad cue. Okay, saxophones, you can hold up your instruments now. Okay, cool. So they have a reed. It's slightly bigger, so they have to blow across that reed in order to make the sound. And if the reed breaks, just have to go get a new one. Okay, so here's our saxophone section. The saxophones usually will play counter melodies in band, but when they get to high school, they can play the jazz band, and they are the stars of the show there. So let's hear our saxophone section play Mary Had a Little Lamb.
They're the highest instrument in the brass family. They also have the smallest mouthpiece. Ellie can pick out that mouthpiece pretty quick. So the mouthpiece just puts it together, and they are put together in like less than 10 seconds. A clarinet takes a good 5 minutes from the very beginning of band. That's why it's very nice to have them for 2 meters. You can split them up. Trumpets make the sound by buzzing through the mouthpiece, and then the instrument is basically just an amplifier. Okay, so trumpets are going to play the exact same song as the saxophone. Here is a little lamb. Playing everyone's favorite hot cross buns. Can't be a band concert without hot cross buns. Right. Okay. Here we go. Almost there. 1, 2, snare drums, and then by the time you see it in the 7th grade, they're going to be playing like 5 different instruments. So here's our percussion section, playing all player name off. One, two, go.
percussion. And again, that includes our instruments, but there are a lot of other instruments in the other bands. So we don't always play 5 notes. So eventually we start learning more notes. So this next song called Doodle All Day has our next note, which is actually the 7th note, but it's lower than the first one. So the low note you hear in this song is our new note. So I had a kid in the first class that said, the ending of this song is the same as Jingle Bells. And I had taught for 16 years and I did not know that. So thank you to that student back there who noticed that. So this is Doodle All Day, but with the Jingle Bells ending. All right, so eventually we have to learn higher notes and play a little bit higher. So this next one is called Mozart Melody. It's a very famous melody that everyone should know. So it's written like I looked this up like 10 minutes ago, but I'm gonna mess up the dates. So it's written like the same time Mozart was born, like 1757. Don't check II, I'm probably wrong. But anyways, thank you. Mozart took it and made a variation on it, and then eventually somebody took that melody and made words into it. So this is Mozart Melody, but you can probably guess what the song is. There'll be a contest afterwards. There's no prize. Anybody have any guesses? Audience participation? Yes, sir. You're the man. He gets the gift card. He doesn't get anything. But let's give him a hand. Like we did participate. Okay, so that was Mozart Melody. That's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, also known as Baa Baa Black Sheep, and then the ABC song. You got it back there too? Awesome. So the next piece we have is called London Bridge. And this one, from now until about March, they're gonna play the same exact thing. So everybody plays the exact same part. On this one, we learn about harmony. So we have the brass is going to play part B, which is the counter melody, and then the woodwinds are going to play A along with percussion playing A. So this is London Bridge. So if it sounds like they're playing wrong notes, like they're supposed to be playing 2 different sets of notes. So this is London Bridge. All right, so the shortest band concert you'll ever go to. Okay, so before we play our last speech, which is Jingle Bells, I always hate it when the conductor gives you all this instructions like after the last song. Okay, you just want to go home. So before Jingle Bells, couple quick reminders. We have our solo and ensemble. We have 15 kids participating in that. That's at New Powell on February 8th. In this gym, the National Honor Society asks us to play a song for them. So usually what we do is I take one of the bands and I tell them they need to go, and then I take volunteers from the second band. So be looking for that in your parent square, that we are going to be playing a song for the National Honor Society. That's in March. It's usually right before spring break, but I don't have a hard date for that set. The other one is the last Parade of Bands. That is on May 7th. It's a Tuesday, whatever, I think it's the 7th. And that is not here. So our final concert is combined with GIS, and the Parade of Bands is everybody. So high school, junior high, I think it's going to be in the new auditorium, but it might be in the gym. And that one, just so you know, they usually charge $3. So you got a free one tonight, but it's usually $3 for that one. So when they are packing up, I'm going to ask them, they have specific instructions to get those expensive instruments into their cases before they come out here and take pictures. If you are antisocial like me sometimes and you want to not talk to people and move some stuff, boy, do I have a job for you. So that would be amazing. So the blue chairs will go in to the left, and then the red chairs will go in the other room. So we need to clear this room so that Mrs. Hafford can have PE. So without further ado, let's end the concert with Jingle Bells.
Thank you, Mr. Buckaloo, and thank you, Mr. Toomey, for all your hard work supporting these students. Like Mr. Buckaloo said, it is a really challenging job to teach students from the beginning how to play these instruments.